Hi, everyone. My name is Paul Scales. I'm with Westchester Modular. And around the table today, I got some great guys. I got David Dillman, a builder. I got John Colucci from the factory. I got Glenn Finley, who's with 210 Warranty Program, and Vinny Leda, who runs the model in New York State. I want to begin, let me begin with David Dillman, who represents the builder, and somebody comes in and says, hey, I want to do some of the work myself. What do you do? How does it work?
So normally what I'll do is I'll sit with them and try to get a handle on if they're able to, or if they feel like they're capable of doing the general contracting component, and discuss the scope of work and the magnitude of finishing a modular home. Once the house is set, once they elect to do their own foundation and set the house, we can go through some of the scope of work and really try to identify.
All right. So I'm just going to break into it. Do they ever get it right?
No,
and tell me how many get it right out of 10.
So I would say most do not,
Yeah.
because they underestimate the amount of work and to finish a modular home and the different disciplines and scope that have to.
I can tell I'm getting energized over the subject because there's so many issues. So I'm going to ask John too. So what happens is, I mean, you can mortgage out right now. This is March of 2022 with supply chain and everything going on. Hard to get vendors. I mean, are you hearing any stories out there, John? Because I don't think a consumer can get it right now.
No, they can't. Listen, as a factory, there's a reason why we sell our homes through a network of independent builders, right? Okay, we have a lot of customers that come to us and they say, "Gee, I'm not a builder. I don't have a builder license." They may be an accountant, they may be something else, but they want to build their own house. Okay. Well, listen, my statement to them is, if you want to learn how to be a builder, you don't want to practice on your own house.
That's a good statement.
That's a really good statement.
That's a good statement.
You just don't, because really that's what they're doing. They're practicing. We make it look very easy because we're delivering a product that's 80% complete. So people gravitate to that and they say, oh, how much more could there be to this? Listen, we're doing the easy part of the job. You guys out in the field doing the site work, putting in the septic, getting it engineered. I mean, I've been in this business 38 years, and most of the time when somebody wants to handle the project themselves, they run out of money because they've underestimated, because to Dave's point, they don't understand what the scope of work is. They really don't know what has to be done, and they get the process backwards.
Well, there's no way they're going to get the same numbers we get. I mean, we have a plumber, we bid 5 houses. They get the plumber that bid 1. There's no way it's going to work. So I'm going to go to Vinny. What I think I want to do is I actually, we have, how many houses do we have going right now?
Half dozen right now.
Okay, we have half a dozen going usually at once. The only issue I have right now is one home where we won't ever say names, but where they're doing the work themselves. They didn't know what to price the vendor right doing the site work, so they're over budget. They try to do their own tile, and they can't get the tile, and it goes on. And then in my mind, they always go over budget. We keep a budget for them. I mean, they're done with us. Vinny, you got any stories on this?
Yeah, absolutely. To your point, I always say the same thing about John's comment about an accountant. If you're an accountant, you really may or may not have any idea what really goes into building a home. Okay, we do this every day, all day long. So from engineering all the way to completion, we know what to look for. And listen, it's an evolving industry. We're learning as we go, right? Mm-hmm. So I am very particular as to who I will sell a dropship product to. I always use the term, I can't beat free labor, okay? So if you're a carpenter and you're building your own house and you're physically doing a lot of the work yourself on nights and weekends and you're in the industry, I'm going to look at you a little bit differently than if you are a professional and you want to, I also say, listen, it's a second full-time job. Like, it doesn't take 10 minutes to build a house. So if you have the time, if you have the experience, fantastic. If not, in all honesty, I would rather lose the job, because it's just going to be a headache for you and I if we go down this road.
Well, I have comments on that, but I'm going to circle around.
Sure.
I'm going to ask Glenn. So we sell a home, they get a 210 structural warranty from us, but yet we bring the house to them. Let's say we don't do any more of the work. I mean, what do you guys do? Do you still stand behind the things in the wall, the plumbing and everything?
So in this case, it would only be what came out of the factory. So it was built in the factory.
Got it.
Westchester Modular provides it coming out of the factory, so still played up. Then the issue becomes if they did their own foundation, maybe they built on fill that wasn't properly compacted.
Right.
Yeah,
Now that
it's a
shifts
mess.
and creates a problem. No, they would not be covered.
Well, all right, so back to you. Here's my problem with Vinny, with what you kind of said. So what we do here at us is we price it as if it's a normal carpenter coming in. And then we'll call that an allowance. And when he does the work, the allowance goes away.
Sure.
But we do that just in case the carpenter has an accident or maybe picks up another job. And the other issue is a lot of times us as builders getting paid have to rely on a CO. And if you have a client in charge of the building process, who knows when they're going to get the CO?
Sure.
Especially in some of these towns, it can go a long way.
Right, if they don't run out of money first.
Well, that's okay. So I said I had one story going on right now that people ran out of money, and it was because they underestimated the site work, and it's coming back to bite them. And now we're having to work something out with them. You know, they're great.
unfortunate.
By the way, these are very, very nice people. And we've enjoyed the relationship with them, except the fact they can't pay us, to put it mildly. But yeah,
Which is, listen, it's not good for anybody
No.
because now they're not in their dream home. It really is a problem, and
Right.
it's as I said before, you just don't want to practice on your own
So
house.
so let's go to the next step.
Sure.
Somebody comes through. What is it? What do we call a qualified person to do it? What sort of degree does the person have to have, and what is the makeup? In fact, you have one you're selling shortly.
Correct.
Yeah, and I think the father was a builder, correct?
I have actually a couple of them now.
Yeah.
One is the father is a builder,
Yes.
and he's done many stick builds. He's burnt out on the stick building and has elected to go modular because it mitigates so many of the challenges he was having as a stick builder. But he's a builder,
Yeah,
so
it's
he's
different.
very qualified. And then I have another gentleman who was the same thing. He's doing a couple of houses, was a stick builder, and got tired of the stick build industry. So he's doing modular now to mitigate a lot of the challenges that he was having with supply chain, with subcontractors. And he's very confident because it's weather tight the day of the set.
Yeah. Well, supply chain's a whole different subject.
Right.
So I'm just going to leave it with this. I think I tell people every stick builder in Connecticut is trying to buy from us pretty much because of the supply chain and locking in a price just before. Yeah. But that's the problem. When they're doing it themselves, they can't get vendors, and then they're out shopping the day before. I mean, before it has to be delivered. You never get it sealed. So, John, I'll let you wrap this one up. What do you want to...
Listen,
yeah.
the only advice I could give is, it's always very tempting to somebody when they think they can save some money by doing it themselves. Again, I can only tell you what my experience has been being in this business 38 years. I've never seen anybody save money doing it themselves. Put it in the hands of a professional. I mean, you're not going to build your own car in your own driveway and get it right?
Right.
So you go to a car manufacturer, you go to a car dealer. It's the same thing applies here. You just put your faith in the hands of the builder and let them do the job and do it right.
So I'm just going to, one other thing in the industry, when we go to the factory, we call this a drop ship. That's our slang between us all here. But to kind of bring it to a head, I think that anybody thinking they're going to build their own home in this particular market, it's going to be a disaster. I don't think they're capable at all. I mean, we're lucky we've had relationships with vendors, or we wouldn't get anybody at our houses.
It's been such a problem out
Yeah.
there that there's a lot of banks today. They ask that customer the question, are you being your own GC? And if that customer says yes, they very well may be turned down on the loan.
So if you were Justin, who's our guy that does our podcast here, what would you name this video? What would you guys call this video to go out? Just to wrap this up here. I want to build my own home. It's a disaster.
DIY modular.
What?
DIY modular.
Yeah.
No.
No. How about don't DIY?
Right, exactly. I agree with that.
All right, maybe that'll be the name of this podcast.
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night, and I would never do it.
Doesn't qualify. Modular construction. Don't try this at home.
Well, anyhow, all right. Thanks, you guys, and just thank everybody that's listening, and have a great day.